All right, DJ Leroy.
Night Watchman. Night Watchman, can you believe we got a new presidential candidate? Whoa.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's hot in August.
my God. I'm
The
trying to
race is
balance this
heated
bad
up.
boy. Yes, yes.
Steamy.
And I actually feel that the orange man, he's feeling a little bit of a pressure. Could that
Oh
be?
yeah, he's shook, as they say.
Well,
So
do we have any people who are going to talk about this? What do you
yeah,
think?
well, we want to start by talking about the first 48 hours because we want to
Wow.
make sure that we remember that black women and black men got this thing started, and
Yes,
really
yes.
it's been snowballing ever since. So
Love it.
I collected a few people who were on some of the historic phone calls of those first 48
Ooh,
hours.
I heard about
Yeah.
those.
So I
Okay.
want to start out with Dr. Adrienne Lotson.
Wow.
Bring her to the stage.
Yes, yes, indeed. Let's go. Dr.
Welcome.
Watson.
What
Welcome
up,
to
y'all?
Soul
What up?
Lounge Prime Time.
Wow. Okay. Here
Thanks
you
for
go.
having me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I will also want to bring to the stage Pamela Johnson, who was also on the call. Now Dr. Lotson was part of Win with Black Women, which is an
Wow.
organization that has had a regular phone call on Sundays for the last 4 years.
Nice.
Pamela
Wow.
Johnson joined through her AKA
Skeewee,
affiliation.
skeewee. Yes. Go
Don't do
ahead.
that. Don't do that.
I gotcha.
Okay. And I'd also like to bring joining us Stefan Dweck, who also participated, and he is an Alpha Phi Alpha member, and just talk to everybody about their experiences. So I'd like to start with Adrian. If you could tell us a little bit about Win with Black Women and what transpired on that Sunday that got you all in motion almost immediately.
So good to see you all. Yeah, Win with Black Women is an amazing organization. Started 4 years ago when the leader, Joteka, said to some of the women who are very involved politically, what are we going to do about some of the attacks that were being made towards Kamala Harris and her vice presidential run? And they said to her, what are you going to do? And she ended up starting this call, this weekly Sunday call. I was invited to the call by Bishop Leah Daughtry, who is Pamela's, I believe, soror.
Yeah.
And I was on the call often during those early years. I then had another engagement on Sunday evenings over the past year or so when I wasn't able to make it. But I did come back on during the time that Biden was making his presidential run. So what's interesting is that I was on the call the week before when there were 500 people on the call, and the very next
Wow.
weekend there were 44,000.
Mm.
But Win with Black Women is an amazing organization of Black women who care. And these women are politically active, and they're from every level of the spectrum of political activity, from the grandma who knocks on every door in the neighborhood to make sure the babies are registered to vote, to the Donna Brazils and the Leah Daughtries and the
Wow.
Janetta Coles, former president of Spelman. I mean, it's an amazing gathering of women. And in the first 4 years of the gathering, everyone had access to everyone. Like you could come off mute, have a conversation with people, give your thoughts. When we had the 44,000 women come on that next Sunday, that was impossible. It was impossible to have everyone engaged. So it was more of a webinar process, and then we can engage via chat and things of that nature. But it was crazy because, originally the Zoom holds, I think, about 1,000 or 2,000 people, and 3,000 people signed up. From what Joteka told us, 3,000 people signed up, and then 10,000 tried to get on. The CEO of Zoom ended up getting involved, and she
Wow.
got her tech
Nice.
people on in real time to open it up so that 44,000 could join on the Zoom. But keep in mind, there were also satellite participations that are not counted in that number. So, for instance, people would get on their Googles and do Google Meet and transmit the call to their friends, right? There are people who put it up on YouTube in real time. So I believe the full number of Black women and our allies who were on that call, and was predominantly Black women, was close to 100,000.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And you know what? Like one of the things that when a night watchman was bringing you on, one of the things he did not say that once again, black women save democracy. You guys, please take a bow. So, Pam, we got to go to you and say, I understand that also Kamala suddenly became black. like, do tell. I mean, please.
Well, first of all, I have to say, and that afternoon, I started to get announcements of the Win with Black Women call, but had no idea that it was an organization that had been in existence for 4 years.
Wow.
It was just this call to action, and not only received it in my AKA WhatsApp chat group, but 2 other chat groups. One was just a bunch of women who started to get together during COVID and active on WhatsApp. Another, separate WhatsApp of my, alumni friends, and everybody was sharing the information for the call, but had no idea that I was part of a movement. And at 8:30 on the dot, I guess these 40,000, 20,000 people were trying to get on this call. And it was a sort of a desperation, because even though we didn't know about Win with Black Women and the 4 years of groundwork that had been done, there was this urgency to get on this call. And I was telling my adult children, I'm about to get on this call, and logging in, we couldn't get in. And then we kept getting updates in all the various WhatsApp chat groups, hang on, they're trying to make accommodations. And that started at 8:30, but people did not give up. 9:15 came, 9:30, people still couldn't get in. And finally, at a little after 10 p.m., an update was, okay, try this new link. And at about 10:15, was able to get in on the call and had no idea. And at that point, there were 28,000 people, they said, was on the call. And by the end of the call, which was a little bit after midnight, there were over 30,000. I guess the final count was 44,000. So there was just this energy and desire to be in the room, to be part of it. And once we got on the call, we couldn't believe all the big powerhouse women who had already thought through things, who were coalescing and getting people energized. And it was really a moment. And then the next day, to realize that we were part of this history that was the light, the match light to get the others organized, was just incredible.
Yes. And Pam, excellent. That's well stated, because certainly you guys getting together, the women, you guys poked the bear. So men, you got to step on up. So Stefan, how'd you step on up?
No, I think you hit it right on the head.
Okay, there you go.
The women set the bar. There were 2 things happening, in my opinion, that really spurred to Win with Black Men. The second phone call after the women did it. One, that they did do it, and they raised over $1 million, right? It was $1.5 million, I'm not sure, but they raised a significant amount of money. And there was a feeling in the Black male community, what are we going to do?
Yep.
Are we going to step up? And 2, there was, at least I saw this floating out there on the internet, that there was a divide, that Black men were not going to support candidate Harris, right?
Yep.
And I think that for many of us, we wanted to show that that wasn't true, that there was a lot of men who support her,
yes,
and are going to support a lot of Black men. And I think there was a real emphasis about that. How are we going to demonstrate that? Because the last time Trump ran, dividing people And black men, from what I heard, are a target for some of these fake websites and disinformation to create a wedge between black women and black men. So we wanted to show monetarily and through numbers that we support her. And
Nice.
so Roland Martin, my alpha brother, really organized this. And so it spread on the internet, like Pam and Adrian were saying, through chat rooms and club rooms. And so I was getting notices. And also, the black men at Dartmouth, let me say this, the black men at Dartmouth, we had our own emails and texts and chats going on to spread the word. So Barry Caldwell and Al Dotson and Denard Ellison and others who went to Dartmouth, some of these names you might not know, but we were texting each other, you got to get on, you got to contribute, you got to donate. Matter of fact, I think I text you, Curtis, to join the chat, and you had Tavern on the Green. And you said you make the next one. I'm like, all right, look, I'll donate for you, but it's all right. But I think, but look, it's all good. And I think we wanted to show numbers. I think we raised over $1 million that night, or $1.2 million, and we wanted to compliment what the women were doing, but they started it off.
Absolutely.
And did well.
Yes, indeed.
Hanging out.
Yes. So
but we can,
go ahead.
But we haven't seen a call to action like this since the brother threw his baseball cap up in Montgomery last summer.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Okay, so Adrian, I have to full transparency. So when Uncle Joe named her as the vice president, I was like, yeah, great choice. What, but then she became the VP, and it seems as if she disappeared into the shadows. So I was absolutely concerned that when Uncle Joe backed out, like what was going to happen. So Adrian, do tell me, yes, she has fire, she has power. We black men, we are definitely energized. So tell us, how'd she do it?
How is she doing?
No, how'd she do it? How did
she do it?
Yes.
Well, so Kamala is not new on the scene. So that's the first thing. Right. So Kamala was in law school in the Bay Area when I was in law school in the Bay Area. I was over at Berkeley. She was over at Hastings. Right.
Wow.
I think we had 1 year in common. And Kamala was a powerhouse back then. And if you look at Kamala's track record, she has succeeded at every single thing she has done. And she has succeeded in spaces where she has not been the majority. Okay. So she was the DA, and then she was the AG, Attorney General, and then she was the senator. I mean, she has always succeeded at what she's put her mind to because she knows how to build coalition. She knows how to get to the point. She's a prosecutor. She knows how to cut through the crap, right? She knows how to get people to work together. One of the things people seem to have forgotten is most vice presidents in history have been in the shadows of the president. That's their job.
True.
Right?
That's right.
Their job is to be ready in case something happens to the president. That's their full entire job. And she has had more engagement as a vice president than any vice president we know of in modern history. She has been at the forefront of movements around student loan forgiveness. She has been at the forefront of issues around prisoner release. Okay. She has been at the forefront of dropping charges against black men, largely black men who have been arrested on minor drug charges, right? She's been at the forefront of that reformation, right? She's been at the forefront of so many things that most vice presidents would not have been at the forefront of because of all the experience she brings to the table. So she's far more qualified than any vice president we've had in modern history. If you look at the records, just look beyond the outward appearance and look at the record. People, I think we would have a bigger challenge, quite frankly, if she was soaking up all the media space from the president. If every time you were hearing about what Kamala Harris was doing and not what Joe Biden was doing, what kind of party is that? I don't want to hear Tim Walsh's name more than I hear Kamala Harris's name.
Yes, absolutely. No, that well said, because certainly we might even think that, and I loved his speech Josh Shapiro. But I do believe that Josh might be auditioning for 2032. What do you think?
No comment.
Well, having said that, you know what? You got to bring receipts. So what are the better receipts than, of course, can you say AKA? And I mean, like Pam. I mean, please, your line system. Come on now. Yes.
Yes. Yes. So yes, the night of the 44,000, the pink and green were out, but so was the rest of the Divine Nine.
Yes.
Or as far as the sororities. And one thing that in the afternoon when we heard about Joe stepping down, not only the WhatsApp chats, but everybody was talking. People were wringing their hands. Oh no, thinking that not only would the white people not support her, we were worried about whether we would support her, whether we would step up, whether we would fall in line. And I can remember texting everybody. I was like, shut it. Everybody's got to fall in line and put everything aside. And we weren't sure it would happen. So we had Delta women, we had Sigma Gamma Rho women, we had everybody on that call in line behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. And so when you heard, of course, about the, let's say, the selection of Tim Walz, feelings, thoughts?
So she did an incredible job of introducing us to Tim Walz. And frankly, I thought it was going to be either Kelly or Shapiro. I felt that Shapiro might have been a distraction.
Right.
But so the night of the rally in Philadelphia, she did an excellent job of laying out his bio, who he was, and getting that crowd. I wasn't in Philadelphia, but I do know people who were there and said it was electrified. People were so encouraged and so excited. And, you see, it's inspiring to see the white dudes. I'm in a networking group, and we met this week. And I said to one of the members afterwards, because we don't talk politics, I said, "Were you on the white dude's call?" Because I couldn't get in, but he's like, he ordered his t-shirts. So
wow.
So it's good to see the people coming together from all walks of life.
Absolutely. And as Stephon, as a black man, and just let's say an involved and engaged voter, what is it that attracts you to Kamala and her ticket? Tell me.
She's a black woman. Put it right out front.
Come on now. There are other.
Look,
go ahead.
The policy, let me tell you why. There's not that much difference in policies among Democratic candidates. I mean, they're very similar. I mean, there are slight differences, but the progressive platform is pretty much the same. And I support that. So, look, I want to be part of something historic. This is historic.
Yes.
Period.
Nice.
And I would keep my sentences short. She's a black woman. I support that. Right. I support her progressive politics. Period. That's it.
Absolutely. So okay. So simply, and I'm hearing this clear, Adrian. So simply because there are a black candidate, that's not necessarily the qualified, because we got Tim Scott, we got Byron Donalds. I mean, come on now. So do tell me, what has resonated to you about Kamala?
Is he really black
So-
though?
Let me digress for a minute. And bring into focus who she's running against. Okay. It's not like it's Kamala versus, I don't know, Colin Powell, God rest his soul, right? This is Kamala against a madman. Now, one of the things that we all have in common on this call is I do believe we're all New Yorkers.
Yes.
And those of us who are New Yorkers know Donald Trump from way back. And we're talking about way before the exonerated five. We're talking way back. We're talking about Daddy Trump, who wouldn't let our parents live in his developments.
That's
right?
true.
We're talking about the Donald Trump whose family sent him to military school because they couldn't deal with him. right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the Donald Trump who, before any TV show, when the rest of the world heard about him, had a horrible reputation on the street for not paying the people who did business with him, right? And I know bankers, big time bankers, whose companies would not lend that man a dime.
Wow.
And a lot of the properties that carry his name, he does not own. They paid him a royalty to put his name on the property because the Apprentice became such a big deal, and you know, media notoriety sells. This man's a loser, but more than just being a loser, he's a dangerous loser, right?
Yes,
he's
indeed.
He's not someone's old grandpa who we just, you know, put in the corner when he's not as alert as he used to be. And that's not to offend any old grandpas. They're very alert, wonderful grandpas out there. But I'm talking about the ones that you're really not sure what to do with because they don't have all their faculties, and you can ignore them or just, you know, help them along. No, he's dangerous. He'll have the codes, which he's had before, and takes home and keeps in the, you know, at Mar-a-Lago. Okay. He can't even vote. Can he vote? I have not been able to get anyone to tell me, as a convicted felon, convicted on 34 counts, if he is eligible to vote. He can't even vote for himself. This man is dangerous. Let's keep that in mind, right? Let's not act like the alternative is a wonderful thing. It's a horrible, horrible, dangerous thing, right? So to your question, so I wanted to say, let's not lose sight of who she's running against. There is no third party. Right? If we don't support, to Stefan's point, if we don't support Kamala, to Pam's point, who else is there? I mean, so we have to coalesce, we have to get around her and support her. But I support her for more than just the fact that she's running against a madman.
Well, hold it now, Adrian. Now, I did hear that there is a third candidate who actually took a baby bear cub and dumped it in Central Park. So you're not feeling that royal family, the Kennedys?
You know what? Listen. The royal family has it. He shall remain nameless. They stripped his title from and kicked him out. He's still not the one, not Harry who's here, but the one who's still over there. Okay, who has caused Elizabeth a whole lot of problems. So before she left, she said, "You know what, boo? We got to take all this away from you, and you're gonna go sit in the corner." Right. So being royalty is meaningless. Henry VIII was royalty. How many wives did he kill? That means nothing, right? And his own family is not supporting him. Like,
that's true.
They're like, we know him. Like, it's the same thing with Trump. They're his own family. We know him.
Very true.
We're not supporting this dude. So, you know what? If some Trump people want to vote for Robert Kennedy, have at it. Just none of the Kamala people. Just leave that dude alone, right?
Absolutely.
And Curtis, Curtis, let me jump in.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying, we have to be careful of these third-party candidates because it's these Hillary haters. Back when Trump ran against Hillary, in my opinion, are responsible for him getting into the White House. If you look at the margins, the difference between Hillary's vote and Trump's vote, right? The difference is these third-party candidates. I forgot Jill Stein and the other guy, particularly in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, right? So I blame them to a certain degree. So this fringe Kennedy person, I mean, if anybody has any semblance of intelligence, they need to recognize that a vote for him is a vote for Trump.
Gotcha. Very good.
Absolutely.
And so certainly, Pam, you heard Adrian, and knowing who, of course, she is running against. But I certainly do know, and tell me that your parents also grew up at a certain time when there were sane and rational Republicans. Okay, what happened to those folks? I don't know, but what has resonated to you with Kamala?
So the first thing that resonated, it was immediately 2 days after the call, the Nikki Haley PAC for Kamala.
Yes. Okay.
The Lincoln Project, the Lincoln Project Republicans who couldn't stomach it anymore. But I still wonder about all of the Republicans who do continue to support Trump and who won't step up and say anything. And they're going to be on the wrong side of history.
Yes.
Right now, there is a desire to leave that rhetoric, the MAGA hate in the mirror. Leave that behind. We're not going back, right? So what resonates with me is that this is urgent. Everybody has to do their part, whether it's canvassing, voter registration, finding whatever way possible to get to I'm on the border of Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of talk to just go over the border and make sure people get registered to vote there.
Okay.
And we're organizing in this part of New Jersey to make sure that gets done.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So let's also talk about the Democratic Party, because I'm impressed by the Democrats, and I've been critical of them in the past, not for policies but for strategies. Sometimes I just feel like the Democratic Party has positioned themselves wrongly, and not recognize their opponents for who they are and how they don't play by the rules. Not saying that the Democrats should break the rules, but the fact that the party came together so quickly and everybody lined up, I think Republicans were hoping that the Democrats would try to have a big fight at the convention and have other people jump up and say, no, I want to be the nominee. And none of that happened. So let's talk a little bit about that. And Adrian, could you give us a little bit of insight in that?
So I think what you saw was one of the benefits of DEI. I know people think that DEI is a curse word, but DEI is not a curse word.
No, they
DEI
think it
is. Inclusion for everybody at the table. And what you saw play out was the benefit of DEI. What you saw was the benefit of having Black folk in the room at the highest levels of the party. What you saw was having LGBTQIA people in the room at the highest level of the party. What you saw was having rural people in the room at the highest levels of the party. What you saw was seeing South Asians and Latinx people, seeing the whole
rainbow. You got it.
Rainbow, if you will, of what is America and what it means to be an American as part of this process, right? And the Democrats, it's almost like we're maturing into what we've been working on. We didn't just wake up and this happened. This has been going on since I dare say by around Clinton time, right? That this is something that has been worked on by people like Donna Brazile, people like Leah Daughtry, people like Yolanda Caraway, right? Mignon Moore, the four sisters, powerful sisters, who have were students of Jesse Jackson, right? Who's a student of Fannie Lou Hamer, right? Who's a student of, and it goes on and it's like it's been in the works for a minute, and it came to fruition at this time. And you had enough people, because the composition of the country is changing, right? It may not be changing on the Republican side, but in the country itself, it's changing. And what you saw is what happens when you have diversity, equity, and inclusion at the table. People are able to come together despite differences of opinion and differences of strategy and forge one way forward. And that's why we're going to win.
Wow. And not only that, look.
He went out. You got to start from the beginning, because you went out again, but go ahead.
I said it's an old racist playbook. They did try to made liberal a dirty word.
Yes.
They're trying to make progressive a dirty word.
Yes.
And now they're trying to make diversity a dirty word. And like Adrian said, diversity is not a slur. It's not a dirty word, right? And I would hope that when people use that against brown and Black people, that we come back and say, well, did you get your job because of white privilege? To me, but that's the comeback, all right? If you want to say I'm DEI, well, did you get your job by white privilege? Because there's a lot of that going around.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? I definitely have to say, so we certainly do know that at least when Trump got elected, there was this big discussion about, let's say, bringing in to their tent more Black and brown folks. I mean, tell me if you have witnessed any of those activities.
That died at the NABJ meeting.
Whoa!
I mean, look.
Yes.
The Republican convention looks as bad as the lack of Black folk at the Oscars. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Let's be real. Okay. They purposely placed Black people in the front. You think you had some kind of television show with producers saying, clap here, be there. So it's all staged. And look, any black people who support a candidate that wants to restrict voting rights, that wants to tell women what to do with their bodies, and restrict infertility and the right to have freedom of choice. Come on, really? Really?
Yeah.
So you got to watch those people because most
Uh-oh.
they're all trying to benefit their own personal wealth and advancement. Period.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? I have to say, and you heard the reference there, Pam. NABJ. So do tell me. I know that you've seen the clip. So do tell me what was going through your head when you saw his, how should I say, his really disrespectful tone and attitude.
Well, the audacity to just come out like that, that hostile. It was the same old Trump, though.
Yeah.
It was the same old Trump. And, when you peeled back, it was the gaslighting, right? So him trying to put it on them. Oh, you were late. And the reality was it came out a few days later that, in fact, he was the one who was reluctant to go on unless it was on his terms. We can't play with Trump like that. But what I love now is that the Republicans and Trump have no answer for what is happening right now. And we are controlling the message, right? We are controlling the social media. I also love that the Russians and Chinese, because this happened so quickly, didn't have time to organize their bots. Before we are controlling our own message this time. And it's like, Kamala, disregarded any of the things that he said at that conference. You can't engage with him like that because we know who he is.
Yes, indeed. And
I saw something the other day on it was a clip. I just want to say up front, I don't watch Fox News.
But okay, you're qualifier. I hear you. Go ahead.
Cavuto and Senator John Kennedy, the other flaky Kennedy. And Senator John Kennedy is calling Kamala Harris a ding dong and a loon, and Neil Cavuto dresses him down for all the name calling.
Wow.
He's like, how do you really think that's going to help you? And he tried to be dismissive of Neil Cavuto, and he wasn't having it. So when we get to the point where Fox News anchors are dressing down
the Repubs,
the MAGAs.
Totally. And so certainly, so you got to then let me know. You heard that already, Adrian, in terms of NABJ. So do tell me thoughts that were going through your head.
You know what? It was. I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked. Right? I was shocked that he said to this woman, "Oh, that's the most horrible question ever." You're
yes.
And I was like, does he not know he's in front of the media? He's not in front of like the folks who are like getting ready to go harvest, some cucumbers here. These are the people who control the narrative, right? Really? And I think I was also shocked that his whole one drop rule, like that he grew up with, like this one, if you have one drop of something, then you can't, the one drop rule is, as folks know historically, if you have one drop of anything, you can't be white. White is very pure.
Jeffersonian law, you got it.
Right. So when you have the one drop rule, you can't be both Indian and black. Like, how is that possible? You have one drop of something, so you can't be something else. And his running mates' children, right, are mixed race children.
That's right.
So it's I'm sitting there going, dude, you have no one talking to you. Like no one talking to you. And I think what also maybe surprised me a little bit about it. Again, I wasn't surprised that he was going to be like an idiot. I just didn't think he was going to be an idiot in the way he was. Right. But you gotta wonder if he's ever encountered black women before.
You know what?
That is James.
That is definitely his kryptonite.
Right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's like not just Kamala, but the women on that stage. It's like, did you really think that they would react in the same way others have reacted to you in the past? Do you not know us? Have you no clue about who we are and what we've endured and what we put up with and how we will run over you with a steamroller if you act a complete fool?
So,
Definitely
I think
cool.
he's so arrogant and narcissistic that he just felt like he was going to come to NABJ and convince the blacks that he was the best candidate for them. Okay, I love the blacks, I really do. He just felt because he looked like he was shocked that he was going to get a hard question.
yes,
And maybe it's because of the black people, Republicans that have been hanging around who just kiss his butt, but he must think that that's the world, and it's not.
yes,
It's
absolutely.
sadly, it's not.
So my little question here is okay. So certainly we know Tim Scott, we know Byron Donald, and Byron Donalds. You grew up in Brooklyn for God's sake, okay? And from West Indian parents. But hey, their auditions to be vice president or of substance to this man, do you think they backfired? Stefan, tell me.
Look, I want to make a comment about the last subject matter. If that was
Okay, yes, you can.
I
Go
can
ahead.
come back on.
Take it.
Look, I saw him. Look, when he went to that convention,
Mm-hmm.
the thoughts that ran through my mind: there's no bigot like an old bigot, and that's real talk. There's no bigot. Okay, and I think Adrian hit it on the head. He created housing that restricted black and brown people to restrictive covenants with him and his father. He put out an ad in the newspaper wanting to execute the Central Park Five.
Yep.
He said that there were 5 people on both sides in Charlottesville.
Yes.
He did the birtherism stuff.
Yes.
All right, and now he mispronounces candidate Harris's name and wants to use all these racial stereotypes to define her and make bigoted remarks. So this is who he is. That's why it's so appalling that you have any black person supporting him when he's insulting all of us to our face. What does that say?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
They make excuses and justification for this bigot for their own self-advancement. And it's so transparent, all right? Because it's not about wealth. You got a lot of wealthy black people out here, all right? But you want to keep being insulted and still vote for this guy? Insult your culture, your people?
Yes.
So
yes.
I'll leave it at that.
I hear you. Well, certainly, Adrian, you heard his comments, right? And you do also know that Tim Scott, he called off the wedding.
No.
Yes, he called it off. So what goes through your mind with that? Tell me.
Now, see, I'm about to lose all my brownie points on this show.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I'm about to lose all my brownie points because some of y'all from back in the day know the Fat Albert show.
Ooh. I be heaving.
What's that character's name? Is it Mushmouth? What was that?
Yes,
character?
Mushmouth. You got it.
It looks
So I'm about to
exactly
lose all
like
my
Tim
brownie points.
Scott.
So I'm going back to the 60s and 70s
Wow.
cartoons, right?
Yes.
Mushmouth was not a leading character. I mean, he was
Yeah.
a foil, right?
Yes.
And that's all Tim Scott is. And people questioned whether or not he was engaged to help his chances. I don't know Tim Scott. I've never met Tim Scott. I don't know the ex-fiance, but you have to wonder, if his chances are now going and so is she. You have to wonder.
Wow.
What I have seen through this process is that so many people are so transactional, right? Their relationships are completely transactional. What can you do for me and where can it get me?
Exactly.
And, I'm still of the school where people should matter. People should matter for something and they should matter to someone and not for what they can do for them, but because of the essence of who they are. And so when you are a person who can have a serious romantic relationship with someone on a transactional basis, and then that's over, how can I trust you with the rest of the country? How can I trust you with being empathetic towards the cares and concerns of people you don't know when people you do know you handle in that way? Again, I don't know him. I don't know what led to the breakup. She may have said, I'm outie. I don't know. We're all saying it's him. She could have said, hey, I'm going.
Yeah.
But it just makes you wonder. You asked me what I thought. That I did not know that they had broken up the engagement. In fact,
yes,
they were engaged.
Lord.
But yeah, you have to wonder.
Well,
Oh, and then
But,
one other
but
point, if I may jump in, I
yeah.
want to say this before I have to go.
Uh-huh.
Is what's interesting to me, and I want people to think about this. Everything they critique this campaign, the Harris-Walz campaign for, they've done 1,000 times worse. So now
Yes.
they're bringing up Doug Emhoff and some mistake he made in his marriage 20-something years ago.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
But old dude who's running for the top office has had every woman he's married to, he cheated on the wife before with.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Like
indeed.
everyone. So he's had a minimum of 3 affairs we know about, right?
well, if he was just running on that, I might have voted for him.
No.
For polygamy, but I don't know.
Keep that in mind for your viewers, to keep that in mind, that every critique they have of this candidate and this campaign, the Harris-Walz campaign, they themselves have done to such a larger extent than what they're accusing Harris and Walz of, that they have themselves. It's almost as if they're projecting onto that campaign what they themselves are guilty of and hoping you don't notice. You go for the okie doke.
Gotcha. Well, I have to then come in here and just ask the question. I'll throw it out there. So certainly knowing that the Republican Party has...
Before you ask that question,
okay, go ahead.
To give Adrian a chance to just, I know she has to
Oh,
leave
yes,
a little bit early.
oh, that's
so,
right. That's right. Well,
if you have any parting words
yes.
before you go.
Well, first, thanks for having me on.
Vote Harris-Walz.
I will be heading out Wednesday to the Democratic National Convention.
Woo! Yes.
When history is made. And I cannot think of a better place to be for that week. I will carry all of New York with me in my heart, and then all of Black womanhood and Blackness and New Yorkish and all the things that comprise who I am and more. I will be taking that with me, and I think we're going to make history. We made history with Barack, and we're going to make history with Kamala. And better, more important than making history is we're saving history. We're saving democracy.
Again.
We are.
Again.
The experiment will continue. The experiment George Washington started, which was a flawed experiment, but it was an experiment that he started. It will continue because we will win, and we will set the country back on its axis, and we will go forward. And we just need everyone to register, to vote, to get your neighbors to register and vote. Don't think because we're New York that we can just sit back because we're guaranteed. No, we need to be like panelists, going to Pennsylvania, going to these battleground states, calling our friends there, making a difference. Don't sit out on election day. Let's make history.
Beautiful. Well, Dr. Lotson, but no, before you leave, I just have to let you know, Night Watchman, you know this, that you will be invited back to the cookout. Okay? So there you go. So thank you, Doctor.
My last thing before I start.
Go ahead.
It was mentioned in the beginning. This is the 1-year anniversary of flipping a chair.
That's right.
Yes,
flipping a hat and flipping a chair. And we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to hit anybody with any chairs. We're not going to throw any people into any water. But we are going to take a stand, and it's going to be amazing. And it's good to see all of you. I know you all. It's good to see you all. Peace and blessings. It's been a joy.
Beautiful. All right, Doc. Doc, take care.
All right.
Yes.
It was just us. You know, I wanted to make a comment.
Go ahead.
We talk about these Black Republicans who make excuses for Trump, and they pull them out every time he does a faux pas or misspeaks. This is not new.
Yes, it's not.
This has been around since we came here in 1619. They can always find somebody, and I can use certain words. They can always pull out some Black person or some brown person or some Latino person who will support their position, even when it is against that person's own interests. Period.
Yes, indeed.
So let's not be surprised that it's going down like that. So when these people go on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, and they espouse the same stereotypical racist ideas that he has, like restricting voting rights, gutting the civil rights agenda, let's not be surprised. So we have to fight against them too.
Yes, indeed. So I did notice that you did not use the T word, which of course is Tom. I guess is
No,
that. Uh-oh.
no, I didn't
Go
use
ahead,
it.
Stefan.
Look, I could have used House Negro. I could have used Tom. I could use a lot of, but it is more complex than that because I think those people really know the truth deep down and just don't give a F. They just don't care.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yes.
This is not some, even though he's running a cult on the other side of the aisle, they deep down, they know they have their own agenda for self-advancement, and it's about them. Right? I'm including Clarence Thomas in that the whole bit because
yes.
their policies are right, progressive, anti-black.
Yes.
Period.
Anti-human.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about
Anti-human. Anti-human. So
villainizing the transgender, the attack on women and women's rights and use of their own body. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But it's always fallen in that order that black people fighting for civil rights opened up the door for women's rights and
everybody's rights,
gender rights, and even disabilities. All those
you name
things
any, Bob. You
sequentially.
name any group. We're the Marines. We go in first.
Right.
We hit the beach first. Everybody's coming after us.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I tell my Latino friends that, my gay friends that, all of them. All right. We go through the door first.
Yes.
We organize first. And we set the table. And they can't dispute that.
Right.
So, look, you take Georgia, the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they wanted to, I don't know if they did do it, but when they were talking about restricting the voting rights and closing the polling places early, and making and actually closing down some polling sites, making a select few where they had long lines, right? They had black people supporting that in Georgia, some black.
Incredible.
And they know that was wrong. The idea is to get everybody to vote, not have minority rule, not less than that.
Yeah.
So they know what look, how could you not know that it affects the majority of black people? You know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they justify it with eloquent language and they confuse the public, but they really know what they're doing.
Gotcha.
And I'll shut up.
No. And so, Pam, certainly, the AKAs, Divine Nine, you guys are there on the forefront. So I'm thinking about the two biggest urban places. You guys have anything planned for, let's say, Jersey, New York, or I'll even say Connecticut? Anything popping?
Things are popping all over Jersey and getting invitations. People are hosting fundraisers. What you have is what's interesting is that organizers are coming together, right, to amplify the power. So you have churches aligning with nonprofits, right? So you see a lot of you see the South Asians organizing with the Black organizations here. So it's really fascinating how urgent this issue is, and we haven't even talked about Project 2025.
Pam, you have the floor. Go ahead, take it. Talk to us.
So when you peel back Project 2025, this sense of urgency, this sense of, every corner, everybody who values democracy, who doesn't want to see, it's not even a matter of going back. It's a matter of going to a place that we didn't think was possible.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right. You've already started to see the book bans. You've seen what what they want to do to women. One of those billionaires that was a financier of Project 2025 wants to take away women's voting. I mean, it is so crazy.
Yes, yes.
And there are a bunch of summaries of Project 2025 going around. I urge everybody, it's 900 plus pages. We can't read all of that,
Right.
but I think we got the message, and now's the time. But I love the joy and energy that Harris-Walz is bringing to not approach this from doom and gloom, but
Mhm.
also from excitement that we are empowered to do this and put this all behind us, hopefully once and for all.
Absolutely. So bottom line, the objective to make this dude irrelevant, that he will go away. Okay. But
the other thing is, we must have a blue wave, because we can't really afford to have a close contest.
Okay.
Because
Agreed.
we already know the Supreme Court is compromised.
Yes.
We already know that there are election officials in key states that are compromised.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that we have a turnout that is so diverse and vast and wide and unchallengeable that even the Supreme Court can't make a way to dismiss it.
Gotcha. And okay, so Stefan,
Yeah.
certainly we do know whatnot that the objective is to make sure Orange Man does go away. What other things can you see emanating from this important election?
I think we have to fight Trumpism.
Is that possible? Is that possible? I'm just
yeah, it's possible. Look, we have to kill it, because it's been allowed. The Republicans, the moderate Republicans, and those with some sense have allowed it to grow like a cancer, and then they couldn't stop it. I think Mitch McConnell had a chance to nip it after the and so they now they didn't. It's like they thought they could handle it. They thought they could control it, and they couldn't, and they can't, because there is a core group that follows him, where sexism and racism is baked in the soil, and Trumpism reeks of that. Their big goal is to have, in my opinion, minority rule over the majority through all kind of legal maneuvers, and Supreme Court decisions, and we have to fight against that. So the bigger picture, when he loses, Trumpism has got to die, and hopefully it will. Look, I spent part of a year in Florida. I think Bob knows that, and we got to deal with the governor down there.
Yep.
That was Snowbird, right? He may want to pick up the torch, and we've got to be on the lookout for that, because he's younger and probably more dangerous. So that, to me, is the objective. We're gonna cut the head off of the snake of Trumpism, and let this movement die, and so that we could become at least more centrist. I'm not saying the left or the right, but in the middle, where we could debate and discuss real policy to help everybody, working class people, middle class people.
Absolutely. No, we are talking about the cult of personality, stopping it dead in its tracks. Why?
Trumpism.
You got Trumpism. Thank you. Because this is a multi-plural democracy, and that's what we want to keep. Pam, for those who may be listening and not know about AKA, or Divine Nine, can you give me a little brief overview? Tell me about it.
Sure. So the Black fraternities and sororities emerged in the early 1900s, right? 06 alphas, right? At a time where we were not welcome in the white fraternal and sorority sisters associations. But what a lot of people don't know is that the sororities were also at the forefront of the movement for women's voting rights for
Yes,
in the civil
yes.
rights movement. And we were at the table as part of the original organizers of organizations such as the NAACP, the Urban League, and a lot of the women were unsung heroes in those movements. And the sisterhood is showing its power, right? Showing its power. I'm so impressed, to hear Dr. Adrienne Lutson talk about how those women came together 4 years ago.
Yes.
This campaign, the organization of the campaign, has to give a lot of credit to those women, those Black women who have been thinking about this, who have been strategizing and lit the fire.
Yes, indeed.
Started this movement.
Indeed.
So I'm proud to be Alpha Kappa Alpha.
All right.
All right,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
So I think we need to wrap here, but I
Good.
want to thank Stefan
Well-
and Pam and also Dr. Adrienne Lotson
Yes.
for just shedding some light on those first 48 hours and sharing your opinion on this historic campaign and just giving us some cautionary notes on the things that we have to look for. And I think
Yes.
we're all tremendously excited about the opportunity to once again make history and, as Dr. Lotson said, put the country back on its axis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me say this.
Mhm.
Look, let me just echo what Curtis said, because I want to make sure I am not advocating violence at all.
No, I know that. Hey, Stefan, I know that. I got you. That's
I'm a
matter of fact-
peaceful
Yeah.
person
Uh-oh.
about
There you go.
putting the idea of Trumpism, the
Yes.
ideals,
Yes.
the values, and the mores and their movement. We need to put that to bed.
That's right. Absolutely. Totally. And
Amen to that.
and yes, indeed. And Night Watchman, you know what? You're going to have to take us home, but knowing that all of these folks
Are
will be
invited
invited
back
to the cookout, baby.
Yeah, don't leave me out.
No,
Oh, no,
Pam, you
definitely.
there?
Don't
You
leave
there?
me
Leave
out.
me out. I'm not coming back no more because I'm tired. I'm out.
All
So,
right.
so Night
This is
Watchman,
it for me.
take us home, Night Watchman.
You've been listening to Soul Lounge Primetime on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. You can find us every Monday night, 7 o'clock on the radio, 8 o'clock on those particular channels. Thanks for our guests for sharing your insights and experience. And we hope to see you guys next week.
All right. Y'all, excellent show, y'all. Excellent show. Yes.